Well, alrighty then. This is Lucifer here, the king of hell, once again with another video. And if you're wondering, if you're new to this channel and you're wondering what is Lucifer doing on Earth, well, let me tell you. He's talking about everything that the Earth is made of, which is what? Business and spirituality. Yes, sir, Bob. Okay, so my last video was very important. But if y'all guys don't want to listen, fine by me. Um, Now let's get into some other things. Not that that's done. I'm not gonna press on it. Um, I'm not gonna press on it. I don't need to. Maybe spirit are gonna be like, you should press on it, but I don't think I need to. I don't think I need to. And even if spirit tells me to press on it, I'm probably not going to anyway. Unless they like legit make it a fucking business to fucking get me to press on it, but I don't think I need to press on that. Like I said before, I mean, like, if I have to say something about my last video, I have to say, like, it is that is the way. It's the road to success. It's the road to success. It has everything to do with the road to success. If you want to have a successful, ethical, and successful business, not just working 40 hours a week for somebody you don't know. You might as well work 40 hours a week for yourself and get, things that you want. And also, it's good for artist people. I feel like that video was more for artist type of characters, entrepreneur type of characters, and anybody actually. And it is, I have to say that it's sad when you make these videos and you see people's reaction. It's a little bit sad cuz you know it just like it enforces this apocalyptic belief. It enforces the notion that, you know this is the end of the world, right? Like, it enforces that. Like, it puts a lot of emphasis on that, bro. Because when people don't understand that, back in the days, nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. A lot of people like to say nothing's changed because it's true. Nothing has changed. You have to understand that before we lived in this civilization, in this society, in this civilized society, everybody was a farmer. Everybody was a blacksmith, everybody was a farmer, everybody was a builder, everybody was a soldier, everybody was everything, right? Nobody was there working 9 to 5s. Nobody was working 9 to 5s. 9 to 5s didn't exist. 9 to 5 exists as a it's a comfortability, right? It stems from the world of comfort, right? You don't have to know how to do something. You can just work for somebody that knows how to do something. This is comfortability, right? It's also conformists, but that's not what we're talking about right now. It stems from a world that I'm talking about the mindset of people today. So when you do make videos like the last video that I made, um, when an entrepreneur does try to get into business nowadays, it's seen as a bad thing. It's seen as a bad thing. It's seen as something um, that people it looks like something negative to most people. And then there's a lot of people that's just jealous. It's not that they see it as a negative. They're jealous. It's either people, the two main reactions, either people are jealous of you, or they see it as a negative thing, which is, it's not. There's nothing negative about creating, about using your mind. There's absolutely zero things that are negative about using your mind and using your creativity and building things that people appreciate and love. There's nothing negative about that. That's absurd. Like I used to sell coffee, but I didn't just sell like fucking Nescafe and fucking Folgers and shit like that, which is horrible, by the way. I used to I sell a specific kind of coffee. It was made with mushrooms. It was made with mushrooms, mycelium mushrooms, and I tested it out. I went on a mycelium coffee mushroom diet to test it out, and the effects were wonderful, right? So I started selling it because I believed in it. But it was my business. I didn't make the coffee. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't make the coffee, but it was a wonderful product. It was kind of like one of those like pyramid things. So, but I believed in the concept. Like I believe in the concept, so I started a business out of it, right? So, you know, and a lot of people appreciate it too. They changed the recipe recently, and the market got overflooded. It got saturated. But it was a wonderful product when it first came out. You know, um, there's nothing negative about that. I'm bringing a product that's good for your health, that helps with your daily duties, that's good for your health. Coffee is already good for your health, and now there's actual medical things involved. There's actual medicine involved in the coffee process. So where is the negativity in that? How can that be negative? How can you tell me that selling you a product that's going to make your life better is negative? It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. And most products, the only reason why they're on a shelf is because they're supposed to make your life better. Supposed to, emphasis on suppose, because obviously there's a lot of products that are not good for your health. But the thing is, maybe a long time ago they started out good for your health, and that's the secret. That's one of the main issues with the market. It's one of the main issues with the market. Once the product when it came out, it was a great product. It wasn't necessarily good for your health, but it tasted good or it did something good, right? It did help out in some shape or form. Or you just appreciate, or it was appreciated by a bunch of people for some particular reason, like candy, right? Like candy, no pun intended, no offense meant, but candy's not good for your health, but it tastes good. Everybody loves candy, So, um, so the problem is not the candy itself. The problem is, okay, so now I'm selling it. Now it's making money. But down the line, the people that started the business are going out of the business. But there's still a demand for it, right? So the guy with the secret recipe, the druid, the mage, the magician, because that's what a magician is basically. Tarot. You have to understand that the tarot card is also involved in business, and gods are also involved in business. So that's what the magician is. The magician is a representation of entrepreneurship. I'm talking about the tarot card. It's a representation of it's an entrepreneurial card, right? So when you are a magician, when you are a mage, whatever, right? After a certain point, you get old and you get tired. So you leave the responsibility to somebody else. And that person might be a mage too, or an apprentice, right? An emperor, right? So that emperor is now responsible for your business. So you're on retreat in the Bahamas, chilling, whatever, drinking a Mai Tai. You know what I mean? The money's still flowing because that emperor is taking care of business now. But now that the emperor Now the emperor's old. Now you're dead. You know, you gave your money to your family. You know, you gave the money to your kids and shit. You're dead. You're dead and gone. Your family's growing up. You know, the emperor is like, you know, he's getting old, so he's gonna need a replacement, right? So now he goes gets a page or a fool. He goes gets a fool, right? So now the fool is responsible for the business. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say here is that there's a, when we're dealing with business like Folgers, like nasty ass Folgers coffee, right? When Folgers started, it was probably a great product, but it's been around for like fucking 50 years, right? It's been around for 40 years. After 40 years, people are still going to demand it because there's generations. There's different generations. There's a new generation of people that comes around every time. And if there are still commercials and advertisement and promotion for this specific product, people are going to want it, right? They're going to buy it because they are aware of it. They see it. So they will buy it, right? But the problem is the content and the substance dilutes itself at a certain particular point, and that's the problem with the market. The problem with the market is the dilution of the original product that was made. It's like I saw the movie, like the McDonald's movie the other day, and that's literally what they're saying. Like at first, the guy who started the two mages created a fucking fantastic burger that was fucking blowing everybody's mind. It was blowing everybody's mind. People were like, "What the fuck is this? A fucking burger? That's insane." So it blew everybody's minds, right? But then there was a fool. They hired a fool. Well, they hired an emperor. We're gonna call him an emperor. So they hired an emperor, right? So the emperor didn't know how to cook. He wasn't even. He was a fool. He was not an emperor. He was a fool. He doesn't even know how to cook. But they hired him, and that's how McDonald's got started. But McDonald's didn't get McDonald's as the multi-million-dollar, you know, chemical processed meat bullshit. That's when that got started. It started with a fool. But the mages created something wonderful. There was no burgers before these guys came along. Those two guys invented burgers. So those are magicians. So a lot of people have this sick, delusional fantasy of business, the prospect of business or entrepreneurs. They have a sick fantasy of thinking that business is not a legitimate magical practice because most people are lazy. A lot of people are lazy. It is easier just because somebody goes to work 9 to 5. That's laziness. 9 to 5 job, no pun intended, no offense meant, because everybody's situation is different. But most people go to work out of laziness. They don't go to work because they didn't have a choice, or they came from another country, so now they have to catch up with everybody else, or not even catch up. They have to be better than everybody else and shit because they come from another country and shit like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Most people, especially young people, are fucking lazy. They are beyond fucking lazy. Like, their laziness is so fucking strong that they will give up every inch of their integrity to make their lives as simple and easy as it can be. And that's why you have a lot of people. You have 5,000 people workforces. 5,000 people in one space? That's absurd. That is absurd. That is insanity. 1,000 people, fine. 5,000? Fuck. You better be international. You better be international. If you got a 5,000 people workforce, you better motherfucking be international, because I personally wouldn't accept. I don't know, like, if I was the mayor of a city and I would see like a fucking office, like fucking with 5,000 people in it, I would try to shut it down. I don't care that he's not doing anything wrong. I would shut it down. It's disgusting. It's gross. Repulsive. Repugnant. It is. It really is. Like, I would try to shut it down. I would shut it down. I would find a way. I would find a way. I would find any kind of legal loophole to shut the fucking place down, because it's just nasty, bro. Like, why do you have 5,000 fucking people working at an office? That's absurd. Nobody needs that many people working for them. I don't even know what these people get. First of all, if your workforce is too big, you know that there's corruption there involved in it. If just facts. Like, if you look at a business and the workforce is like 20,000 and shit like that, 40,000 workforce and shit, you know there's corruption involved in it, because nobody's keeping track of all these fucking people. It's like the Arab telephone game. There's no way the guy at the top, when he sends out a message, that all the 40,000 understood the message the way that he fucking said. The way that he fucking said it. I guess there's an allegory for God in there somewhere. Pardon my language. And that brings me, that's a perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about here. I'm sorry. I still have. I'm emotionally disturbed by YouTube Christianity. I'm emotionally disturbed by YouTube Christianity. It's beyond the world of insanity. How and it's devious and evil, and it's kind of like they are they are using Christianity as a weapon. They are using Christianity as a weapon. It is weaponized towards people. And it's kind of it's messed up. It's messed up, bro. Cuz now, because let's face it, people most people on YouTube are young and impressionable. And a lot of people might want to say, people in the street might want to say, oh, they don't listen to YouTube. But, bro, I listen to a lot of fucking YouTube. And I know for a fact that what you're saying came from YouTube. Like, dude, like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, there's a lot of people that say they don't listen to fucking. I listen to a lot of YouTube, so you better watch out what you say around me, because the video you watched, I probably watched it like 3, 4, 5 times. I guarantee you. You know what I mean, bro? Like, so, like, people can say whatever the fuck they want, but there's a lot of people walking around town with YouTube logic, and it's deplorable. I'm old fashioned. I come from the 90s. In the 90s, we used to read books. You know what I mean? Now I feel old now. Back in my days, you youngins. Back in my days, we used to read books. I do feel old because it does sound archaic when you say it. But the problem is, it's not. That's not the problem. The problem is we're in a situation where we actually need to mention that we used to read books. That's the problem. The problem is not me feeling old. The problem is I feel old. I feel old. But the problem is not that. The problem is I have to actually mention it. That's what's messed up. It's messed up. And a lot of these, I mean, it's good for me because that I have a lot more power. I have a lot more arcane knowledge than most people because I don't get my information from YouTube. I don't rely on YouTube. I do get some information from YouTube, but the reason why I am the person that I am is because I used to read. Dude, like, I used to read. I'm an autodidact. An autodidact is somebody that can learn by himself. He doesn't need somebody to teach him. But that's bullshit. There's no such thing as an autodidact. Because if you are autodidact, you still need to. Well, yeah, I'm a little bit. Okay, I have a little bit of autodidactism, whatever the word is, whatever the adjective is. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm a little bit of an autodidact because there are some things that I intuitively can figure out. True. But regardless of that notion, there's no such thing as an autodidact because if you're learning something, you have to read a book and somebody wrote the book. So you're still learning from someone. So there's no such thing as an autodidact. It's impossible to be an autodidact. The only reason why I intuitively can manage a working mechanism is because of past lives, reincarnation. Like I said before, this is not the first time you've been here. This is not our first go around. That's why you have people that don't need to read or learn and they can do something. But that's a kind of genius. And it is very rare. It is extremely rare. It's a very rare trait. Very rare. Almost instinct. Not everybody does. It's a very rare occasion to find a person that can just do things like, figure out mechanical systems without even having been to school for it, nothing. It's very rare. But I do have a little bit of that in me. There are some processes and there are some things I can figure out without having learned it anywhere or something. Like I intuitively know it's like Dune. It's like in Dune, the Kwisatz Haderach when he gives him the that was very I was very um I can relate to that when he gives him the suit and he puts on the suit and then the guy is like, what the fuck, how did you know to put the suit like that on, because that's how we do it but we don't teach that to other people. He's like, well, logically speaking, And he answers, well, I just went by logic. It seems like this was the perfect way to put it on. Like I said in my last video, everything these people say has a deeper meaning. They don't just say it because it looks cool. Yes, it does look cool, and that might be the reason why they put it there, but it has a deeper meaning. You have to understand these guys are educated, right? They're functional crackheads. Right? When I mean I mean the Illuminati. They're functional. They're highly functional crackheads. So you can't under. They're stupid, and it's laughable how stupid they can be. But don't underestimate the amount of things that they know, right? Because you could be on the receiving end of that battle instead of the throwing end. But it's easy to underestimate these fucking people greatly. It's very easy. But that's a fool. That's the fool. That's the possum energy, the fool energy. You sit there and you think that person's stupid and the whole fucking time, and they actually know a lot more than they give off, right? And not only that, but their intelligence goes far beyond what you could have fucking possibly imagined. This full energy. Because the fool is also a magician. It's also a magician card. Like the magician is the entrepreneurial card, and the real magician card, the magician card, like the druid card, that's the fool. Everything is relative. Einstein, the laws of relativity. So, anyways, I feel like Christianity is used as a weapon nowadays, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful because you have people like me that have a vast amount of knowledge and a vast amount of know-how that are being pushed to the side for their false prophet, their false idol. No offense to Jesus, but if he existed, but I don't think Jesus is a prophet or an idol. Jesus is an archetype, is a type of person. So now they're pushing this false idol, this false prophet that never existed, but always been here at the same time. And people need some form of spirituality, even though a lot of people are not spiritual. They still feel the need to have a little bit of spirit because it doesn't, like, you can say that you believe in God, you're not a spiritual person. Okay, fine. But that's spiritual. The belief in God is a spiritual notion. You might not, light candles and stuff like that, but that's still a spiritual aspect. So you still need it in your life. You still need that product, that produce in your life. Not only that, it's detrimental because you're scared of what might happen if you don't involve this produce or product into your life. And I'm afraid for the future. I'm afraid of what it might look. Because if this Christian weapon, this Christian laser Death Star, Death Laser, maniacal mustache twirling fucking plan that they're putting on us is functions ends up being a mass becomes mass media, which it already is. The future is going to look bleak. It's going to look bleak. It's going to be very boring. It's going to be colorless. There will be no space for creation. There will be no space for imagination. There will be no space for creativity, inventions. I'm an inventor. I invent things. I invented a lot of things. I'm a magician and I'm proud to be a magician. I'm not, that's who I am. That's who I always was and who I always will be. So the first people to go in a society like that are going to be people like me. The first people that are going to get hung from a tree or set on fire, just like back in Salem, are going to be witches, magicians, and all sorts of things. Spiritualists, polytheism, polytheist. They're going to be the first one to go. Entrepreneurs, artists, and it's not a comfortable position to be in. It's not a comfortable thing to look at. Well, I'm fine on the position that I am in right now, but if this mustache twirling deaf laser having entity wins, it's gonna be a horrible world to live in. It's gonna be apocalyptic, and it already is on a smaller scale, but it can get worse. It can get worse. So I'm very unapologetic, but I'm happy creating Cthulhu monsters. I think it's awesome. I think it's the greatest thing in the fucking world. I love creating Cthulhu monsters. I love talking to my beholder. I love my hellhound. He's a good boy. My hellhound is a very good boy. I love sharing my power with other people. I like sharing my information and my gnosis with other people because that's the truth. That's the real truth. The real truth is you can be an inventor. God did not create everything. It is a lie. God did not create everything. He might have created some things, barely, because he had help creating those things. So his essence, it's not only his essence. If you believe that God created you, you have to understand that it's not only his essence that is in you. When you It's like working on a car. There's the manager, that would be God. And then there's the director, the creative director, that would be one of his helpers, angels, whatever you want to call it. There's the actual builder. There's, and all of these people have a spirit. All of these people are a representation of something. The director will, the creative director is the one that creates the concept, the body, the shape. The manager oversees the product. He's the one that, the manager comes up with the idea, and it's up to the creative director to give the idea a form. And then there's the actual mechanical builders. They make everything work in the form that was presented to them. So you don't have just one essence inside of you. You have multiple essences inside of you. This is why the tarot card works. Why am I talking about tarot? Because tarot to me feels like, which I don't read. I don't really read tarot, but it is not. It's a arcane. They call them arcanes, right? You have major arcanum and minor arcanum, right? It stems from a very deep and long line of gnosis, of knowledge about the self. The people that created tarot understood themselves. They didn't understand other people. They understood themselves. That's how they were capable of creating that. They understood other people too, obviously. But tarot actually simplifies a lot of things that spirituality has a lot of difficulty explaining. It's a Tarot is one of the rare things that you can use to understand the arcane world, the ether, what is inside of you. Because if you don't use tarot, then you have to use another system like tarot to understand what is going on, like Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. In demonology, the demons themselves are a represent. I'm not afraid of saying that demonology doesn't really have tarot, even though tarot comes from demonology. But what I mean to say is I don't feel like, because it's not like a lot of demonology is a secret knowledge. There's no Satan never wrote a Bible. Satan does not have a prophet. He doesn't write Bibles. He doesn't have a prophet. He doesn't promote himself. He does zero promotion of himself. But that's because he doesn't need to. And the reason why he doesn't need to is because if you understand your demons, then you understand yourself. And then you can go forward and invent your own system based on yourself. This is why you have different types of tarot cards. It'll come to you. You will inspire yourself into that process if you need it. And it's good to have sticky notes. I have a lot of sticky notes. I have a lot of sticky notes. It's good to have sticky notes, right? And tarot is a sticky note. It's a sticky note about spirituality, the self, and everything that is relative to everything. Business and spirituality, once again. So now we're being attacked by this Christian concept, by this fake lie, this idolatry, by this false prophet. They're using it against us to ruin us, to make us live in poverty, in spiritual poverty, in creative poverty, and physical poverty too. Enslave us, use us as human batteries to generate the energy needed to sustain the lie that they're exposing us to, sucking our energy, taking our souls like vampires, because that's what they are. Like I said before, angels are vampires. And they're sucking our blood. They're drinking our blood, drinking our life essence, drinking our souls, gluttonously devouring us, humanity. And maybe this is good news for me because I don't let people suck my blood. No one sucks my blood. It's actually quite pathetic what's going on right now. It's you know, like there's a lot of energy vampires. They're not sucking anything. They're not taking anything. Nothing is being taken away. It's very funny. It's extremely funny because they're trying to keep face. They're trying to maintain their demeanor, but it's like it's cartoonish at this point. You're not doing anything. You've been trying for I don't know how long. Nothing's happening. But I see that a lot of people are talking about vampires. So this is a systemic attack. It's not just me. And it all comes from the same place. This systemic attack comes from one place and one place only. So you might want to walk around saying you're God, but if you're God, you're also Satan. Because God has two sides, allegedly. presumably. God has two sides. So if you're God, you're Satan. If you're Satan, you're God. One cannot be without the other. Satan sits on a throne above the stars in heaven. He sits in the same place God sits. He's not going to. He did. He is. So Christianity is evil. Christianity is pure, unbridled evil, unrefined, raw evil. It's raw evil. The Christianity that they impose on us on YouTube, the Christianity that pertains to being from one civic order, race, it's evil. All of it. All of these things must be obliterated. Well, not really. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Because people, like I said before, maybe this is good news for me, but most people want to be enslaved. Most people are fucking anime characters. They're waifus and weebs. Most people have a fantasy, men and women, grown ass men with beards, want to be waifus. Gangsters, everybody. They all want to be waifus. Weebs. Submissive, furry ears, bunny ears, submissive anime girls. That's what people want to be. And that's what a lot of people are already. So maybe that's good news for me. Because maybe these slaves won't have enough power to destroy me. And I'll just be able to do my little experiments in my fucking, manner with lightning strikes in the background and Frankenstein laughs. Dr. Frankenstein laughs. It's alive by myself somewhere in Romania. Who knows? Or it might end up very bad, and we're the ones that might get eradicated. Who knows? One thing I do know is if we do get eradicated, either physically or socially, one thing that's for sure is when that'll happen, you'll know that humanity has died. If it's not already dead. So it's real hard to trust anybody right now. It's real hard to trust anybody right now, or to believe what anybody says, because we don't know if that person's a waifu, is a Christian waifu, is a Christian submissive furry slave. And there is a lot of them right now. And it's easy to become a submissive furry slave because you're lazy. You're too lazy to learn. You're too lazy to teach. You're too lazy to do anything. You're too lazy to use your brain. So it's hard to trust people. It's hard to trust people, man. It's hard to trust people. Nobody trusts each other. And it's been like that for decades. I'm not saying anything new. It's been like that forever. That's just how humanity treats itself, with a lot of distrust. And then you have the other side, weird fucking people walking around town asking to be trusted the first time you see them. That's complete insanity too. I can't believe, I don't know how many fucking times people have told this to me, and I'm look at them and I'm like, are you fucking nuts? Like, trust is earned. I don't fucking trust people the first time I see them. Like, the fuck out of here, dude. But I guess you should trust yourself too. I guess you should trust yourself too. But it's a slippery slope because there's a lot of contrast. There's a lot of Illuminati people walking around. There's a lot of familiars walking around. There's a lot of Christians. There's a lot of Christians walking around. There's a lot of bad things in this world walking around, all around us at all times. So you can't trust yourself. Because in the laws of attraction, when you practice the laws of attraction, there's a certain level of activity where you it's like you're not even living in the same dimension that everybody else is living. Right? It's kind of like you don't need to be distrustful because everything that you see are things that you want. Right? But even that can't be trusted because laws of attraction has something to do with your emotional state. So you can't just sit there and be like, oh man, I'm in another dimension. I'm on the fifth dimension, and everybody that I meet is on the fifth dimensional too, because you're gonna get your ass handed to you. You're gonna get your ass handed to you if you're not aware that it depends on your emotional state. If you're not vibrating on that frequency, you're back on Earth 1. You're not on Earth 2. You might get back into Earth 2 in 5, 10, 20, an hour, 2 days, 3 weeks later. But you have to be aware of your emotional state, because if you're not aware of your emotional state, you're back to Earth 1, where there's like Illuminati garbage, all types of shit, and Christian attacks, Christian mustache twirling super villains and shit like that. And Earth 2 is not an easy transition. It's not an easy vibration to get to. It takes a lot of work. And this is also what I'm saying. When people are lazy, people don't want to go on Earth 2 because they don't want to do the work to get to Earth 2. They want to stay on Earth 1 because there's already everything that they need on Earth 1. It might be garbage, but they can buy food. They have a roof over their heads. Everything is clinically safe, allegedly. Air quotes, safe. It's already there. Earth 2 is more self-reliant. Earth 2 is I create this. So believe it or not, I came to this town. There was nothing here. When I came here, there was nothing here. When I came here 3 years ago, when I came back to Montreal, when I went back to Montreal in the area that I live in, there was nothing. It was boring. It was boring as fuck. I manifested a restaurant, but I wasn't satisfied with the restaurant. I wanted to do events. There was no places to do events. I wanted to do events. I wanted to do fashion shows. I needed a place to do a fashion show. I manifested a reception hall. Unexpensive. Very nice place. But I didn't manifest these things just for me. It was boring. There was nothing to do. It wasn't pure luck. I manifested these things in the area. I spoke it into existence. You might want to believe me or not. That's your issue. The only reason why I'm saying this is because if you do believe what I'm saying, if on a certain, you might not believe in me, but if you're aware of the laws of attraction and what it can do and other people and blah blah blah, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that is Earth 2. That's how it works in Earth 2. But the problem is people don't want to learn how to do those things. Most people want to be God's waifu. And I say this with a nauseating feeling in my throat. Because it is disgusting. It's gross. Atrocious, even. People have given up on themselves. They gave up on themselves. How can you follow a God that appreciates you giving up on yourself? That's absurd. That's absurd. So anyways, I'm gonna stop the video right there. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Peace out.